Hello again. This short video is attempting to help you understand specifically what I'm hoping you're going to be able to accomplish with your thesis statement in your introductions in this class. Now, a thesis statement should be one sentence telling your audience what you're hoping to accomplish with your speech. All right? Now, a thesis statement, as you continue developing your speaking skills, may become more complex. It may not take on this specific form that I'm going to have you use for this class. However, just like when we're learning how to do any new skill like ice skating or diving or cooking, we always start with something very basic, very formulaic. For example, if you're cooking a cake for the first time, you're probably not going to do that without some kind of a recipe, or if you do, it might not turn out the way that you want it to. So we start with the recipe, and eventually you can have more fun playing with your thesis statement. So, just to get that out of the way, the thesis statement is a one-sentence thing telling your audience what we hope to accomplish with our speech. Okay? With our thesis statement, it will either be informative or persuasive in this class. You could also have a thesis statement with the goal of entertaining your audience, but in this class, our goals will always be to inform or to persuade our audience about something. All right, there are three parts to a thesis statement we need to consider when we're writing our thesis statements in this class. The first part is going to be our general goal. Are we trying to inform our audience or trying to persuade our audience? If we're trying to inform our audience, that's going to change the way we're going to write the rest of our speech. We're not trying to influence them in some way. We're just trying to let them know some information. If we're trying to persuade our audience, we have to build different types of arguments and that type of thing. It's a little different type of speech. The second part of our thesis statement is we need to mention our audience in some way. All right? This isn't going to be a research paper where we're writing in third person and we never mention ourselves. No, there's a difference between written and oral style, which we'll get into at a different time. In this case, we want to make sure that we're specifically referencing our audience members and letting them know, yes, in fact, I am speaking directly to you. The third thing we need to do with our thesis statement is make sure that we have some kind of a specific goal, all right? So we're not just talking about sports or movies or the color green, all right? We're specifically talking about something to our audience members. So for instance, if we were doing an informative speech about the movie Zoolander, I might have a specific goal of it being the movie Zoolander, or if I want to persuade my audience to watch the movie Zoolander, I might have a specific goal of to watch the movie Zoolander. So here's a couple of examples of what a thesis statement might look like. If you had an informative thesis statement, you might say, today my goal is to inform, right? Because we said that we have to have that general goal. You is that part about the audience specifically. And then our specific goal with this speech is to tell our audience about the movie Zoolander, right? In a persuasive thesis statement, it'd be, again, very similar to that. Today my goal is to persuade, that's our general goal, you, which is our audience members, and then the specific thing we want to persuade our audience about, to watch the movie Zoolander. So, three parts to a thesis statement need to be the general goal, we need to mention our audience in some way, and we need to have the specific goal as well. Okay? Hope that helps.